All right, welcome to the webinar today. Today is August 3rd, 2016, and we are doing a question and answer session just like we do every 2 weeks for the Pronunciation Pro students. So glad you're here and glad that we have this chance to answer any of your questions. So today I do have a few questions that were emailed to me, and I do see some of you, Ricardo, there were a few questions from you. So we'll definitely be going over those together. When it's your turn, I will unmute you, or when you have a question, I'll unmute you and we'll talk about it together, okay? So that's the great thing about these webinars, is that we can have kind of that live interaction. So I want all of you to get comfortable with that questions box, because that is where you'll type in your questions. At any point you have a question throughout this webinar, type it in there. I'll be watching that questions box to see if there's questions related to whatever we're talking about. Because if we're talking about short vowels, long vowels, and one of you have a question or want to try some of the examples that we have, then I want you to write that in the questions box so that I can address that with you. So it's not just wait till the end, we'll be answering your questions throughout. Okay? So get comfortable with that and we'll go ahead. So today, just as an introduction, I wanted to talk a little bit about our mindset. So I went on a long road trip, which I'll kind of talk about in a minute, but I went on a road trip this summer with my kids, and during that road trip I like to listen to audiobooks, which actually I encourage all of you to do as much as possible, because audiobooks are great for pronunciation. As you're listening to English language audiobooks with native English speakers, you know, if it's an American English speaker, then it gives you that exposure to the rhythm and to the sounds of American English, plus you're learning the content of the book and developing your own vocabulary and grammar and all of that. But so audiobooks are a great way to get that exposure to pronunciation, especially as you're going through a program like Pronunciation Pro. You're learning about all these different new concepts, the ideas of English rhythm and intonation and stress patterns, that you're learning about different vowels and different sounds and the way they're linked all together. And as you're listening to books, audiobooks, or podcasts or things like that, it can really reinforce what you're learning in the program. So I encourage you to do that. But the audiobook that I was listening to just here in the last few weeks is called Mindset by Carol Dweck. And essentially, something that stood out to me is she talks about a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. So it's talking about kind of the way we see the world. And the fixed mindset, say you're not successful at something or you fail at something, the fixed mindset says, I'm a failure. So it kind of labels you and kind of puts you in this box of like, oh, I failed at this, so therefore I'm a failure. Whereas a growth mindset says, oh, I failed at this. I failed, but it's not who I am or what I am, that's not who I am. It's just an experience that I had. But in a growth mindset, if you have kind of that open growth mindset, your mindset is, well, I'm learning, I'm growing. Failure and making mistakes is part of the process. And so it was applicable to pronunciation and accent training, is that as you go along, as you're learning in this program, you are going to make mistakes. You are going to try and speak with somebody and forget some of the things that you're learning. But as the person says, well, what was that? You say, oh yeah, that's right. I know what to do in this situation. I know how to move my mouth more. I know how to put my mouth in the right positions to be able to communicate more effectively. So when you have maybe an experience where someone's not able to understand you as clearly, don't think of it as, oh, I'm a failure. I can't do this. I'm never going to be able to do this. I want you to think of, oh, darn it, I made a mistake, but that's not who I am, or that's what I'm working on. This is, that's one mistake, but I will do better and I will keep learning and I'll keep growing. And that's how we're going to kind of make that impossible possible here through this program. It's all about growth. It's all about learning. It's all about making mistakes and trying again. Okay? All right, we'll move on. Just a word about me. For those who are new to this webinar, my name is Annie Rudin, and I'm an accent trainer. I'm a speech language pathologist, and I have 3 little boys. I'm pregnant with another. I'm going to have another boy in November. And my family, I every summer during the month of July, I go on a road trip with my kids. My husband can kind of come at different parts of it, but we go and visit grandparents that live across the United States. So we get in the car and we drive and we see wonderful things and people and friends and family along the way, and it's a wonderful experience. So I apologize if I have been, if I haven't responded to emails or been as quick this last month in responding to emails, since I've kind of been away with my family and doing these adventures that I enjoy so much. So one thing that I love is when I talk to my clients, a lot of them are talking about different places in the United States that they've visited and they've seen, and there's so many places that you have all seen that I haven't, because you come as tourists, whereas I don't necessarily do that. The only time I get to do that usually is this month during the summer. So this place is called, it's in northern Arizona, and it's called Antelope Canyon. It's this gorgeous canyon you hike through with this beautiful red rock. So anyway, that's just a little snippet from our adventures this summer. But now, as I was saying at the beginning, my kids are in school and we're back to the grind here. So so excited, glad to be back. It's fun to have adventures, but it's good to be back. Okay, let's jump right into questions. So Ricardo, I'm going to unmute you here. Ricardo, are you there?
Hello, I'm here. Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you very well. Okay, you had some really great questions, so we're going to go through those together today, okay?
All right.
Okay, so we'll start with, there were just some words that you were wondering about, and the difference was the vowel. So the vowel sound in some of these, trying to figure out, okay, how do you differentiate between these vowel sounds? Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say it once, then I want you to say it. Okay?
Okay.
So bed, bad.
Bed, bad.
Good. So the difference here is you have the short eh in bed, and bad is the ah sound. Okay, so the difference, is kind of is a little bit more neutral. Ah drops the jaw a little bit.
Okay.
Ah. So let's do another example of that. So you do this for me.
Pat, pat.
Okay, and a little bit more drop of the jaw for pat. Pat. Okay. It's a pretty pat, wide open.
Pat.
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 Yeah. Okay, so pet, pat.
Pet, pat.
Yeah, good. So it might feel uncomfortable to kind of open your mouth as much as you need to for that ah sound, but that's a very American sound, right? Ah. It's kind of
right.
It kind of feels awkward because it sounds a little bit strange. But pat and bad, that's where you're going to really want to make sure your jaw is dropped for those. Okay, so say those for me. Bad, pat.
Bad, pat.
Good. And as you drop that jaw, it will differentiate. Okay, so you had sheet, and then in your email it had hit.
Yes, I didn't want to use the same word like S-H-I-T.
Oh, okay. So you had wrote hit, but I'm like, I think he means S-H there. Okay, but didn't want to.
I work a lot of like spreadsheets, and sometimes I want to say, hey, you want to open that sheet or shit or what?
Right.
So.
Yes, and this is something I do make sure that we talk about, because although in my normal language I don't, want to cuss, we have to make sure that we're pronouncing these correctly, or you're going to get kind of a not so great word, right? there. So sheet is a very common one to mistake for shit. Okay, so she has that e sound, and then she has the I sound. Okay,
Okay.
so do those two for me.
Sheet, shit.
Yeah. Okay. So you definitely want to get that longer e sound, and you're doing it beautifully. That sounds exactly right. So take out a sheet of paper. Say that for me.
Take out the sheet of paper.
Good. And we'll be doing more contrast for e and I later, but here's another one that comes up that has that same e and I contrast.
Right.
Okay, and the
That's a good
difference,
one.
and a lot of times, with Spanish and Portuguese, is that because of that I, in your native language, it says E, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah.
that's the difference, is whenever that I is alone, it's going to say I.
Right.
Okay, so here we have beach and bitch.
Beach and bitch.
Yeah, there you go. So you're getting that longer E. The difference is that E is wider in the mouth. E, it's kind of stretch it. I is very neutral. I.
Okay.
Okay. And we'll actually be going over the rules of when it should be pronounced long or short today too. Okay, so the other questions you had were about steel and then steel, which actually has the exact same pronunciation. So
Okay.
the steel, metal, and I'm going to steal, that gum from the store. Okay.
All right.
And then still has then the short one. So say these two for me.
Steel, still.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm hearing that really clearly. Okay. The difference
Right.
between the E and the I. Good. So I'm going to actually open this up real quick does anybody else want to try this? Does anybody else have a hard time with this E and I contrast? If so, you can there's like a hand raise icon that you can click and volunteer to do it. I just want to give anybody else a chance if they're like, that's a struggle for me too. Okay, we'll keep moving on. If anybody else, wants to go over that later, just let me know. Okay, so Ricardo, your next question had to do with ordinal numbers that have that th sound in it. Okay, so let's go over those. So I want to,
Just a quick
yeah,
question. This
go ahead.
is voiceless th, I guess, right?
Yes, it's all going to be voiceless. Whenever that th is at the end, it's going to be voiceless. All right, so we have fourth, fifth, and the one with fifth, we don't do like a F sound in there, the second F, it's just fifth. So do those two for me.
Fourth, fifth.
Okay, so it's TH sound. What week of the program are you in, Ricardo?
Right there in the second week.
The second week. Okay, so you're working on that TH sound and getting comfortable with that. Do you find that you're doing like the T sound instead of the TH sound? Fourth.
Well, I don't know. I mean, when I hear myself speaking, it's kind of hard to say, but
Okay. So
it's kind of artificial for me because I mean this sound it's weird. I mean that's weird, but it doesn't have my native language, so
right. Yes,
it
and that's
sounds artificial when I say like fourth and fifth.
yeah. So
But I'm
that's
trying.
the key. This is probably the most awkward sound that you'll learn because and I find that with all of my students is that having your tongue kind of between your teeth and that just the airflow of it just feels so weird. But I can guarantee you to a native speaker it's not going to sound weird. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So fourth, fifth.
Fourth, fifth.
So he was fourth place.
He was fourth place.
He was fifth place.
He was fifth place.
Yeah, that sounds great. Sixth.
Sixth.
So this one's going to
So
be tricky because it has a K and then the TH sound. So sixth.
yeah, that one I struggle
Yeah.
a little bit, like sixth.
Mm-hmm.
It seems that I have like a break between sixth and
Right.
sixth.
Sixth. And honestly, like as a native speaker, that's not our favorite thing to say either. You know, he's in sixth place. Sixth, it feels strange to me as well.
Right.
So you'll find that most, you know, even native speakers will pause slightly on that to make sure that they get their mouth in the position that they need to. Sixth,
All right. Sixth.
yeah, there you go. And it's just a repetition. Let's say it 5 times. Go ahead.
Sixth. 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 Sixth.
Oh, the last one, sixth.
Sixth.
Yeah, there you go.
Sixth.
So it's all about repetition. It's all about just being like, okay, my mouth doesn't want to do this, but I'm going to make it, and
Right.
it'll get more and more comfortable for that. But it sounds great. That's exactly what I would want to hear. All right. Okay, how about this one?
Seventh.
Mm-hmm.
Eighth.
Good. Eighth. Eighth. Good. So it's that long
Okay,
A.
this is not eighth. It's eighth. Just
Yeah,
one
so
sound.
eighth. Yeah, so you don't do that T before the TH sound. It just kind of gets swallowed up. Eighth.
Okay. Eighth. And ninth.
Good.
Ninth.
Ninth. Yep. Ninth.
Yeah,
Okay, how
can you
about,
say again? Ninth?
yeah, ninth. Ninth.
Ninth.
So really
Okay.
that N is right there behind the teeth for that TH sound. So what you do is you kind of close off ninth.
Ninth.
So you kind of close it. You can close it off and have it's not that your tongue is behind your teeth and then it comes out. It kind of
Ninth.
yeah.
Ninth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we're kind of combining those N and TH sound a little bit. But if I go knife, that's not right. That has to have
Right.
that N sound.
Ninth.
It's not knife.
Okay.
It's ninth.
Ninth. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Okay, do the next one for me.
20th.
Okay. So this one
20th.
can go either
20th.
way because a lot of native speakers will take out the T. 20th.
Okay.
20th.
Okay.
The 20th anniversary. 20th. Or 20th.
20th.
20th is perfectly fine. 20th. And, you know,
20th.
depending on the person and, you know, the precision of how they pronunciate, I'll hear 20th as well with
Okay.
the T.
20th.
Mm-hmm. So
That's
whatever
more
is comfortable for you.
Okay. And 30th.
Good. 30th. Because 30,
30th.
it becomes, instead of 30, most native speakers will change that to a D. So then 30, 30th.
30th. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
40th.
Good.
40th.
Yeah.
40th.
40th. Good.
40th. 50th.
Yeah, there you go. 50th. So we get that F in there. 50.
50th. Okay.
So the difference, fifth, we kind of took that T, that F in out, right? Fifth. 50th.
50th. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
60th.
Yeah.
60th.
60th. Good. You're getting that TH
60th.
sound. There's nothing about that TH sound that's sounds incorrect or anything. It's all sounding very natural.
Okay. 70th.
Yep, exactly. 70th. Good. Okay, I'm going to open this up to, let's see. Okay, does anybody want to try this? Sunny, I see your hand up. Okay, Ricardo, I'm going to mute you for a minute and do Sunny real quick, and then we'll move on.
Sure.
Sunny, you there?
Yes, I am here.
Hi, Sunny. Do you want to try some of these?
Yes.
Okay, so go through from here.
Okay. 4th,
Mm-hmm.
5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 20th, 30th, 40th.
Here, get that TH in the front of 30th.
Okay. Oh,
30th.
sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, at the end in the front, yes. 30th,
Good.
40th, no, 40th,
Good. Do that one again.
40th,
Good.
okay. 50th,
Mm-hmm.
60th,
Mm-hmm.
70th.
Good. Okay, so this is something that you would want to practice and kind of go through quite a bit, just because your mouth is
Not
not
comfortable.
quite sure what to do in these, in with these
Yeah.
words. Okay,
Yeah.
good,
Okay, great.
good,
Great.
Sunny. All right, Len. Let's have Najin. You
Hello?
there, Najin? Hi.
Yes. Hi.
All right, do you want to try this?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh,
Okay, do that one again.
eighth,
Seventh.
seventh,
Good.
eighth, ninth, 20th, 30th, 40th, 50th,
So do that one again. 50th.
50th,
Mm-hmm.
60th,
So get that
seven,
60th.
60th,
Yeah, there you go. So that's that middle part, 60. We want to make sure that that's nice and clear. 60th.
60th,
There you go.
70th.
Good. Very good. Okay, and so with this, you're kind of emphasizing that TH sound at the end, which is good because that's what we're trying to kind of practice here. As you go along, you'll want to reduce it from, 40th and really holding on that TH sound to just 40th. And then you kind of cut, you want to cut it off. So say this for me. It's our 40th anniversary.
It is our 40th anniversary.
Perfect. So when you're doing it in a sentence, it's exactly the right length. That's great.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
And we'll get back to your questions. I know you have a question here, but
Thank you.
okay, good. Okay, let's see. Okay, Ricardo, I'm going to come on back to you. You there?
I'm here.
Okay, great. So then let's get into, we ended at 70th, so let's keep going to 80th.
80th,
Next one.
90th,
Good. And then here we have 100th.
100th.
Yeah, so it does have that, again, like we have two consonants here in a row, so that gets tricky, but D and the TH, and it's kind of like the N and the TH where we're going to cut off the sound for the D and then move right into the TH. Hundredth.
Okay, 100th.
Yeah, perfect.
100th. 100th. Okay.
And then the same thing, we're going to have the N to the TH here. 1000th.
1000th.
Yeah, exactly. And it kind of gets that Z sound in there. Thousand is a Z sound. That S becomes a Z. Thousands. 1000th. 1000th. There we go.
1000th.
Yeah, sounds wonderful. Good. All right, good. Okay, so now here's the next part of your question. And then if anybody is interested in trying out any of these, just raise your hand and I'll be watching, okay? Okay, so you're wondering about the short I and the long I. And what gets confusing about this, are you familiar with the International Phonetic Alphabet? Like, have you really learned that?
I'm not familiar. I know what it is, and if I have an idea, but
Okay.
I'm not very familiar with.
Okay, so the trick is that I have a little bit of a different system than the IPA, and so it can kind of get confusing if you're like, oh, I really know the IPA and I want to use the IPA. But I write it as the short I just do a lowercase because like short, little, and that's usually how it's spelled, is with the short, with that lowercase I. Whereas the long I, and actually for right now, so the long I that says I is usually the IPA is this, I, okay? So long I, whenever it's a long vowel, I do a capital letter, so big, long, So I just means there's a bigger movement, I, versus I is kind of a shorter movement in your mouth, okay? So that's kind of how I differentiate the two. But here is short I, stitch and ridge, you were asking, how do I know? Is there a way or rule about the is pronunciation? You want to be able to look at a word and tell if it's the short or the long, right? Okay, so here are the rules that go along with it. And this, again, there's exceptions to the rules, but here's the idea. So when a vowel is alone, like mit, there's no other vowels around it. Stitch is an example. No other vowels around it. It's going to be short. I. Okay, so it's kind of on its own. It's going to say it's short pronunciation. Or if it has two consonants around it, so like there's two consonants between that vowel and that vowel, between the I and the E, then we're going to get the short pronunciation. Okay, so example, mitten, there's the I and the E right here, but there's two consonants in between, so that they're going to get it short vowel pronunciation. Does that make sense? Oh, Ricardo, are you there? Oh, I lost you. It says offline on yours. So I might have cut off there. But here's something that, while we kind of wait for you to get back here and let me know when you're back. Here's something that helps with this is, this is the way I think it. I have kids. I don't know if any of you have kids, but I think of the short vowels. The vowels is kid. Vowels are kid. Consonants are parents. Okay. When a vowel is alone, it's going to kind of be quiet. It's not going to be too loud. If it has two parents with it, it's going to be kind of quiet still. Okay. Even if there are other kids around, if there's two parents, they're going to be well behaved and they're going to kind of have this quieter sound, this short vowel. Whereas a long vowel. Let's go through the rules for the long vowel. When two vowels are together, so two kids are together, two kids get together, they're a little bit louder, they're more rambunctious, then they're going to say the long name, okay? Or only one parent is in between them, then they're still going to be loud. So for the long vowel, we have two vowels together, meet, M-E-A, so when two vowels go walking, the first one does the talking. Two vowels are together, the first one's going to be loud. Okay, meet. Whereas you have one consonant in between, might. Okay, there's only one consonant or one parent in between, so those vowels or those kids are going to still be loud. Okay, let's look at our examples up here. These are all ones that have the vowel and then the E there. Oh, there we go. Ricardo, are you there? Let's see. It looks like the microphone might not be working right now. Let's see. Oh, there you go. You there? Good.
Yes, I'm back. I'm sorry,
Okay.
I had issues with my computer.
No worries. Were you able to hear that explanation, or were you kind of busy?
Not really. I was trying to connect again.
Okay, so let me go over it a little bit again. So I'm talking about how do you know when it's supposed to be a short vowel or a long vowel? And this has to do with all vowels, okay? There's usually a short vowel and a long vowel with all of the vowels. Okay, so a short vowel, where it says I, happens when the vowel is alone. So there's no other vowels around it. Alone meaning no other vowels. It's the only vowel around, like in mit. Or there's two consonants between the vowels, like mitten. Okay, let's go up to your example here. Stitch, that's the only vowel. Okay, so it's alone, so it's going to say I. And then ridge, we have two consonants here, the DG, two consonants in between the vowels, so it's going to be short.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so my kind of analogy here is the vowels are like kids, is that when they're alone, they're kind of quiet, they're just playing alone by themselves. They're going to be quiet, so it's going to be that short vowel. When there are two parents around, that kids, even if there are two kids, if the parents or the consonants, there's two or more parents around, then they're going to still be quiet. All right? Meaning that short vowel. Okay, So moving into the long vowels, our long vowel says I. So it's a little bit longer, louder, more of a bigger sound, I guess. This happens when two vowels are together. So think two kids get together and they're going to be, louder. Okay, so two vowels are together, they're going to get the long pronunciation. There's a saying that says when two vowels go walking, the first one does the talking. So when two vowels are together, it's the first vowel that's going to say the long pronunciation.
Right.
All right. And then if we only have one parent in between, one consonant in between those two vowels, then the first vowel is still going to be loud. All right. So it's going to say its name. So in your examples, these all have the long vowel because it just has one consonant in between. And then we have the vowel at the end, which is the silent E. So strive, strike, ride. All right. Does that help?
Awesome. Help a lot, actually.
Good.
Just one question. If you have two consonants which are the same, like your name, right?
Yes.
So
yeah, names get a little bit trickier, but two consonants together. So Annie. For an example for my name, Annie, and let me just kind of write that. Let's go to this real quick. So it actually does follow the rules. So I have a short A and then N because that first vowel is alone, right? Because it has two consonants in between it. So I'm going to have the short A. Instead of Annie, it's going to be A, and then I have two vowels together. So we're going to say E.
Right.
Names are actually, if it was going to be two vowels together, it would be Anni. Anni. If I followed the rules completely right there. So there are going to be exceptions to the rules, but
overall that works. Right?
Yeah, but a lot of times that's the key.
No, that's awesome. That's fantastic. Actually, sometimes I have issues when I'm reading something, just come up a new word with an I or A in between. So I can try to use this rule. Probably I'm not going to have that much problem.
Exactly. And when we look at the rules of English, what I like to think about is like our rules are going to cover 80% of English. So 80% of the time, you're going to get it right. Okay.
Right, yes.
And then we have to kind of work on the 20%, the exceptions and things. But 80%, that's pretty good to start with.
That's better than 50-50.
Yes, exactly. Good. Okay. Does anybody else want to try this? Well, I guess there's not a lot to try except doing the short I and the long I. So actually, Ricardo, go ahead and do these examples for me with the short I and the long I.
Stitch, ridge, strive, strike, ride.
Perfect. Yep. Okay. All right. We do have a volunteer here, so I'm going to cut to them real quick. Nijin?
Yes.
All right. Go ahead and say these for me.
Yes. Stitch, reach, strive, strike, ride.
Okay. I'm going to have you kind of look at this. I heard rich instead of ridge. So the difference is just that voicing. So rich has a voiceless, ridge has a voiced. So let's get that voice on. Ridge.
Ridge.
There you go. Yeah. He was standing on the ridge of the mountain.
He's standing on the ridge of the mountain.
So it's just that lesson on week 1 where we talk about final voiced consonants. That is an example of those final voiced consonants. We have to hold that vowel a little bit longer to get that voicing. Ridge, ridge.
Ridge, ridge.
Yeah. Exactly, ridge. Good. Thank you. All right, good. Okay, so then there's the same situation. Oh, Uba, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead. Do you want to go over these?
Yeah, I had a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are we supposed to say stitch or stitch? Like
with the E or the I?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's going to be that short I. So it's not E, stitch, right? It's not going to be E. It's going to be short. Stitch.
Stitch.
Yeah.
So is it stitch?
Yeah.
Ridge.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And actually, Uba, when we go over, I have a section we're going to do the short I and the long E. I want you to do that with me, okay?
Okay.
Because that's a big difference, that I and E. Because right here we're contrasting I and I, but I and E is tricky too, okay? So we'll go over that just here in a minute, okay?
Okay.
All right. Good, good, good. Okay. All right, Ricardo. So now that we've gone over those rules, let's just do the A and the A here. So say these for me.
Cat, statue, state, cape.
Good. So I'm hearing it differently, and that's that short A sound that you got to make sure that it's just dropped enough so it doesn't sound like ket and statue. We want cat, statue. And you sounded great, but that's something that I think that your mouth is probably going to want to do is change it more to the instead of the A. Make sense?
Can you say again? I didn't get that.
Okay, so one thing at the beginning we were kind of contrasting A and E.
Okay.
And you want to make sure that with that A, cat, your
cat.
Yeah,
okay.
That it's dropped down enough. Statue, cat. But you don't want it to.
Okay.
You don't want it to sound like ket and statue.
Right.
Right.
Statue is not following the rules, right? I mean.
Yeah, so that's
because it has a.
Yeah, that's not following the rules because it has that. It should have two vowels, two consonants there. So yeah, you're exactly right. These ones are. That one is. That is not statue. And especially this fact that we have the T and the U, it should be statue, but really it becomes statue.
Right.
Yeah.
And maybe because you have a sound, right, like CH, two consonants there, like from the side, statue.
Right. If you look at more the phonetic way of looking at it, it does follow, statue.
Right.
Exactly. Good. Okay, and I think that covers the questions that you had, but feel free to ask questions along the way as we continue on, okay, Ricardo?
All right, thanks a lot.
You're
it was
welcome.
Very nice and clarify a lot of things.
Good. I think you brought up a lot of good questions that a lot of our students kind of struggle with, so that's helpful. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, Tariq, let's see if you're here. Tariq was saying wasn't sure if he could come, but it was talking about this short I and long E, which Uba, I'm gonna have you help with this. So I'm gonna unmute you. Uba, you there?
Yeah.
Am I saying your name correct, Uba, or?
Yeah, it's Uba.
Uba, okay. All right, so here's the difference, that short I and long E. This is something that can be confused very easily because of your native language, and depending on when you see like a lowercase I, what is the pronunciation of that in your native tongue? I know with Spanish that's the case, and I'm not sure with other. What's your native language, Uba?
Somali,
okay. So I don't know if that I is there in your native language or not, but
no, but
okay. So So whenever there's that lowercase I, and it's alone, like we were just talking about those, it's going to be I. Okay. The E is going to come when we have that longer E sound. So here's some confusion that Tariq was actually wondering about. Is we talked about, and this is something I want to make sure is clear to all of you. In week 1, we talk about final voice consonants and making sure that when there's a voiced consonant at the end of the word, that we hold the vowel before. Now, Tariq was confused because he was thinking that whenever there is like an I, so let's say swim, he was thinking, oh, that's voiced at the end, so now I need to change it to swim. But that's not what we're talking about. When we hold the vowel, it doesn't change the sound of the vowel. It just changes how long we're holding it. So, for example, swim. I can hold that short I vowel. I can hold it for as long as I have breath. Swim, which is going to be a different sound than sweem, right?
Yeah.
So we have to keep that I true, even if there is a voiced ending. Swim. So like before I was before I was working with Nijin and we were working on, let's see, we were doing ridge. So it's not ridge, it's ridge. And it has that voiced ending, but we still keep the short I. Okay? Swim and crib. They have voiced endings, but we still keep that I sound. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's do a little practice here with these I and E. So say these two words for me. Bid, bead.
Bed, bead.
Okay, and then say that sentence for me. We have bid and bead in this sentence.
Make a bed on that bead necklace.
Exactly. Okay, good. So when we have that E sound because there's two vowels going walking, and the first one's going to do the talking. So that E is going to get that long pronunciation. So let me hear make. Let me hear a long A there.
Make a bid on that bead necklace.
Exactly. Good. Because I kind of, at first I heard kind of make a bid, and we want it to be make a bid.
Make. Yeah.
Exactly. Let's do another example. Sin and seen.
Sin and seen.
Yeah. So then do the sentence for me.
He's hoping his sin will not be seen.
Good. So here's another situation with that long vowel, hoping. We want to get that long O. Oh, hoping.
Hoping. He's hoping his sin will not be seen.
Good. So I'm thinking with those long vowels, you want to really concentrate on the long vowels to make sure that they're getting that full movement of your mouth. So if you don't do the full movement, it's going to sound like mek or hopping instead of hoping and make.
Hoping.
Yeah. So those long vowels, just get that full movement on it. Hoping, seen, make. Let's see if there's any other long vowels over here. Anyway, those long A, long O, long I, long E. Just be aware of those, okay?
Okay.
All right, excellent. Thank you. Okay, so let me just go. Those were the ones that were kind of emailed to me. Najin, I see that your hand's up. Were you wanting to try? Oh, yeah. Were you wanting to try some of these? Okay.
Yes.
Let me go ahead and bring these up. So do the words and then do the sentence for me.
Yes. Swim, crib.
So we want to get that voiced ending. Crib.
Crib.
And when it's in a sentence, you can kind of link it. The baby is in, let's see. The crib is in the baby's room. Do that for me.
The crib is in the baby room.
So you would link it and do the crib is. The crib is in the baby's room.
The crib is in the baby room.
Yeah, and that's how to make it sound really natural. Instead of the crib is, we just link it. The crib is.
The crib is.
Perfect. Okay, do these next ones.
Bead.
Okay, do this one again. Bid, bead.
Bead.
Excellent. Okay, do the sentence.
Make the bead on that bead necklace.
Okay, a little bit shorter vowel on this one. Make a bid on that bead necklace.
Make a bid on that bead necklace.
Good. Okay, next one.
Seen. He is hoping his sin will not be seen.
Good. Okay, so one thing I'm going to point out real quick. I heard hoping, and we want to be hoping. So that ing is not just in, it's ing. So we want to bring it to the back of your mouth and go ing, ing.
ing,
Yeah.
ing,
Hoping.
hopping,
Yeah, there you go. So it kind of changes from the N being in the front of the mouth to the N kind of being in the back. Hoping.
hopping.
Yeah, so do the sentence again. He is hoping his sin will not be seen.
He is hoping his sin will not be seen.
Sin and seen, the N is going to be in the front. Yeah. Sin, seen.
Sin, seen.
Exactly. Good. Very nice.
Thank you.
Very nice. Okay, good. Okay. All right, so I'm just kind of going through now and looking at some of the questions that have just come up on different topics, and we'll keep going through those. Okay. Osvaldo, anything? Okay, Osvaldo's talking about the TH sound in something and anything. Hi, Osvaldo.
Oh, hello, Annie. How are you?
Good to see you again, or hear you again. Okay, I'm going to pull up our worksheet here in case we need it. So something and anything. Go ahead and say those for me.
Something, anything. Anything.
We have something to do today. We don't have anything to do today. Okay, go ahead and say those two sentences for me.
We have something to do today. We don't have anything to do today.
Okay, good. Okay, something, the only one that I was noticing with something is because that has that S and the TH sound, you know, your voice is kind of sounding like it's wanting to do something or something, you know, kind of choose one or the other. Yeah, so that's the trick, is making sure that we can get the S and the TH coordinated. Something, something.
Something, something.
So say it 5 times for me.
Something, 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 something.
Okay, good. Okay, so it's that repetition that's going to get that comfortable for you. So when you come across some of these words that you're like, anything, I can't get that, you know, my mouth to coordinate, say it like 10, 20 times, and put it in the sentence and see if you can kind of get it to coordinate. Because again, it's
especially with something, because it's so common that I have problem the talking. I mean, not reading, but talking personally. No free speech. That I have problem with that.
Yeah, and the more you practice it on your own before you get into free speech, the more comfortable your mouth is going to be with that combination. And so as you practice it on your own and you're thinking, okay, something, something, you're just driving to work, or you're on your way somewhere, and just say something, something. You have to say it out loud. That's the problem sometimes. But something, 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 something. The more you repeat it, then when you get to free speech, your mouth will be like, oh, I've done this, so I know what to do in this situation.
Okay.
And it won't be as you won't stumble on it as much.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome. All right, let me see. Was there any other question? No. Okay. All right, thanks, Osvaldo. Let me know if you have other questions. All right, let's see. Okay. All right. Now, Jen, let's talk about that vocalic R. Hold on. Let me find you here. There we go. Okay. Now, Jen, you there?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So hopefully this is big enough. Let me increase the font here so you guys can all see clearly. Okay, so you're worried about the vocalic R, such as like board and storm, beard, curl, world, word, war, and ward. Okay, let's talk about some of these. Let me hear you do board.
Board.
Okay. So what I'm hearing a little bit is, so what's happening with your tongue, and so let's pretend this is my tongue, if you can see my video here. Board, what's happening with your tongue is instead of coming up for the R and kind of bunching in the back of your throat, board, I'm hearing kind of a looser, like your tongue's not bunching up there. Board, board. Instead of board. So let's overemphasize that. Board.
Board.
There you go. There it is. Board.
Board.
So do it. Board.
Board.
Good. Storm.
Storm.
Okay. Beard.
Beard.
Curl.
Curl.
Okay, so that one's going to be tricky because it has a dark L. Curl your hair. Let's get a lot of R's in there. Curl your hair.
Curl your hair.
Curl, yeah, curl. Okay, curl on. Yeah, do it one more time. Sorry. Curl your hair.
Curl your hair.
Okay. And then world.
World.
Okay, world.
World.
So we're going to cut that down, and this is what I'm hearing is it's your R's before the dark L is probably where it's kind of getting tricky. So we're going to break it down. World. Do it for me.
World.
Whirl. Just do that.
Whirl.
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 Again, whirl.
Whirl.
There you go. World.
World.
Whirl. So when you're kind of breaking it apart, whirl, you're getting all the sounds perfect. Okay. Whirl.
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 World.
World.
There you go. World.
World.
Good. World.
World.
Yeah, much better. World.
World.
Better. Yeah. Okay, so when you're struggling with that, break it down, say it slowly a few times, and then kind of bring it together, okay? So how about word?
Word.
Much better. So word. Okay, bring that back. Word.
Word. Word.
Okay, do it again. His word is true.
His word is true.
War.
War.
Ward.
Word.
Yep. Okay, the trick with the R vocalic R for you is pull that tongue back. Pull back the tongue. And then on the dark L ones, practice kind of, so list out maybe 5 or so dark words that have the R, and then the vocalic R, and then the L. World, girl, Burley. That's a place. I went there. Burley. Kind of list out a few of these words that have the R and the L, and then kind of slowly break them apart, and then slowly bring them back together and get your mouth comfortable with transitioning between that R vowel and the dark L. Okay?
Yes.
Say this one for me. Burly.
Burly.
Okay, so that's just a matter of getting your tongue back. Burly.
Burly.
Yeah. And then, so it's mostly when that L, well, I guess world is mostly when the L's at the end, but yeah, go ahead and go through that with the R and the L. Make sure that there's that transition, okay? And that's just a matter of breaking it apart and saying it slowly and getting your mouth comfortable with it, okay?
Yes.
All right, good questions. Let's see, you had one more other question. Oh, let's do final L. Pull, pool, full, pull, pulse, bulb, and bowl. Okay, say those for me.
Pull,
Mm-hmm.
pull, full, pull, pulse, bob, bowl,
Bulb.
bob, bulb,
Yeah, so it has the L and the B. Bulb,
bulb,
and then bowl.
bowl,
Good.
bowl.
Good. So this brings me to a point about the dark L, is that you don't always have to use that dark L as far as the tongue not coming up and touching the roof of your mouth. So we talk about the dark L in week 3 or 4, I think it's 3, where the dark L is kind of a bowl in your mouth where the tongue doesn't come up and touch the roof of your mouth for the dark L, but it does for the light L. The thing about the dark L is that if you use a light L in all situations where you bring your tongue up and touch, it sounds perfectly fine. Okay? So if that dark L is hard for you, don't use the dark L. Just bring your tongue up and for every L. Okay? Because if you think about it, like the pool is full of kids. Okay? So think of this sentence. The pool is full of kids. When you have a vowel right after the dark L, then it's going to become a light L anyway. Full of, because you have to have a place for the tongue to kind of lift up. It's not the pool is, you're going to come up and touch. The pool is full of kids. So say that for me.
The pool is full of kids.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah. So let's do kids. Kids. Do that again.
Kids.
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 Yeah, so that DS is kind of tricky. Z, z, z.
This.
Yeah, kids. There you go. Yep, the pool is full of kids.
The pool is full of kids.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. All right, good questions, Arjun. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let me go ahead and let me come back to these questions. Okay, Sunny, let's have you go over some of these R's. And if anybody else has any problem with any of these words up here, just raise your hand. Raul. Hi, Raul. You there? Raul?
Oh, yeah, hello.
There you are. Hi. Did you have a question? I saw your hand raised. Do you have a question with any of these, or?
I just wanted to try this TH word and next something.
So
okay, I will going to, yes.
The TH word, like something and anything, or your own TH word?
No, I don't have. I want to just try this one.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Something. So we have something to do today.
Good.
And next, anything. We don't have anything to do today.
Good. That sounds really good. So your mouth's in the right position. You're getting that voiceless sound, and it's moving through, very nice. So that sounds really good.
Okay. Actually, I want to try next one. That okay. I'm going to select this one. Board. Storm. Braid.
So this one's going to be beard.
Well, beard. Okay. Beard. Well, rod. Sorry, world. Word. Word. And word.
Okay. Do this one for me. Curl. Curl.
Curl.
Good. Very nice. And then do world.
World. World.
World. So it's kind of like has an ER, curl, if we're going to spell it out, curl, and world have kind of that ER sound to it. So curl and world.
Okay, curl and world.
Good. Very good.
So, okay. So, okay, next, I'm going to read this one. Pole.
So this one's going to be a long O. So pole.
Long O. Pole. Pool. Fool. Pool. Balls. Bulb. And blow.
And then this one's going to be a long O to bowl. Bowl.
Bowl. Okay, bowl.
Good.
Is it
so
right?
Yeah,
okay.
So do the pool is full of kids.
The pool is full of kids.
Very good. All right, very nice. Yeah, and it's that, kind of training that tongue to come back and it to not get too bunched up back there, but kind of have that back and forth. It bunches and then it comes back. Ward.
Okay.
Yeah. So you'll get that. What week of the program are you in, Ro?
I'm just I just free trial just
okay.
first
So just in
days.
that first week.
I just registered. I'm just this is the first webinar.
Okay,
so
perfect.
I want to know a little bit more about your membership for annual program. So I don't know. So I think end of this webinar you will discuss.
Okay, good. I send you emails about kind of the difference in the different packages and help you understand a little bit more. So if you have questions, though, just email me, okay?
Yeah, sure.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, excellent. Okay, and then, let's see, Raul, Uba, I don't know if that was, Uba, did you want to try these?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let's go ahead and, which ones are you wanting to try?
Board, storm.
So let's get that or.
Beard.
Board, or.
Board, storm, beard.
Okay, so instead of beard, I'm kind of hearing beard. I want beard.
Beard.
There you go.
Beard. Curl. World.
So world.
World. Word.
Okay, get word.
Word.
There you go.
Word.
War.
Word.
So this one's going to be war, kind of like W-O-R, war, and then ward. Ward. Okay, so it's the same as like board and storm. We're going to have that or sound too. Or. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, the difference between the word for the word and the word.
World and word are going to have, the only difference is that dark L in there. So we have world and word. Oops.
World, word.
Word.
But
it has still that sound to it. Word.
Word.
Good. Anything else you want to try?
Yeah, pull.
So get that long O. Pull.
Pool.
Pool. Yeah, it's kind of bunched. Ooh, pool.
Pull. Pulse.
This one's going to be pulse.
Pulse. Bulb. Bowl.
Good. And then do the sentence for me.
The pool is full of kids.
Excellent. Yep. Very nice. So with the R, just making sure that we're getting, in week 4, you're going to go through all the different types of R vowels and making sure that you can kind of get the versus the R versus the or versus the ear, all those different R vowels. Okay?
Okay.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Jabuba. All right. I think we got all of the questions. And Sunny, I am going to have you, we're a little bit over time, but I'm going to have you read through these. Okay, Sunny, you ready?
Yes.
Okay, go through these.
Four. stone, bear, curve, word, word, war, word,
Ward.
ward,
Then say curl your hair.
curl your hair,
Good. And then do the,
hold back the tongue. I'm sorry.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. The pool is full of kids.
Good. Kids. Kids.
Kids.
That DZ. That's a tricky one. Kids. Kids.
Kids.
Kids.
Kids.
Yep.
Thank
Good.
you, Eddie.
Those R's are getting stronger. Good job, Sunny.
Next.
All right. Excellent. Okay. All right. We're kind of over time, so I understand you have to leave. Go ahead. But let's just kind of wrap up here. Thank you for all your questions. If you have other questions that you need to answer, just feel free to email me. I'm back into my normal schedule now, so hopefully I'll be able to, I'll definitely be able to get back to you faster. But thank you so much for all the kind words. I know there was a lot of congratulations and, and things from the new baby, but I'm glad you come, and I'm glad that even if you're not asking questions, I understand that even just listening and learning is part of the process. But the more you can participate and the more you kind of volunteer to try things, the more that you're going to progress, because you're actually trying, you're doing it. So I encourage you to keep coming and participate, and we'll have another webinar in another 2 weeks. So if you have questions that you want to go through specifically, then email me and we will, I'll make sure I get you on my PowerPoints, and we have examples of things to go through together, so that we can make that a little bit more rich there. But I hope this has been helpful for all of you, and keep working, keep progressing through the program, and you'll do great. Okay. All right. We'll see you next time. Bye.